I kind of begrudgingly respect just the dedication to not getting better at what you do for a living. Just coast through life.
It probably shouldn't even happen.
If you got it, you got to flaunt it, acid.
You know what? I got a lot of stuff that I don't want to flaunt, so I just keep it to myself.
Jeremy is really big into the used mattresses. I think that's an excellent deal.
He has a used mattress store on the side. And we found out that Anthony's friends are all 13-year-old boys. Nice.
Whoever wins gets Acid's ball soap. Clay, how you doing?
Doing a little more poorly after that terrible introduction. I was just fine, to be honest with you.
Hello, Sci-Fi Gangsters. This is the show where we talk about science fiction, comic books, and video games. But really, it's just an excuse for me to catch up with my friends. And today is an exciting episode because it is our annual episode where we recap, we review Dragon Con this year, Dragon Con 2023. I know all of us are very excited to talk about our time at Dragon Con. I'm very excited to hear about how Tony and Matt, their experience, because I didn't see any of you. I saw pictures. I saw plenty of pictures on Facebook and Instagram of all the fun that you were doing. Matt, the cosplay. Obviously, me and Jeremy we were bunking together, so I saw plenty of them. Probably too much. No, that's actually probably what he thinks. He probably saw me too much. But I'm really looking forward to seeing or hearing about your guys' experience at Dragon Con. And then Acid will be there too. He'll be here. Bringing up Mortal Kombat or something.
I'm just here for moral support.
Talking about Combo Breaker, right? A con that we're not talking about today, but that's totally fine. Bring it up, whatever.
That you'll never go to. That's okay.
That's what it's about, baby. All right, I don't know why I went with the baby there at the top of the show. But once again, that is our topic for today. We're recapping. And why don't we go ahead and just get right into it? So we'll say this. We'll do three things. 3 experiences that we enjoyed or perhaps didn't enjoy about Dragon Con. I don't think I have any complaints, but 3 things. We'll kind of go in a round robin situation here, but 3 things that you most enjoyed about Dragon Con 2023. We're going to start off with the head honcho. The head honcho here. He's rising up the hierarchy of Dragon Con. Getting these awesome panels, interviewing these guests. So we're gonna start off with Tony. Tony, how you doing?
I didn't realize I was the head honcho. I'm sorry. I was tuning out. I was like, oh, cool. Can't wait to hear what they have to say. I'm good, man. I had a really good con. To your point, I have nothing. No, even if I was trying, I have no negatives. A couple little travel hassles, but like shook those off pretty quick. It didn't ruin the trip at all. So yeah, really good year this year. I forgot to mention, I appreciate you guys rescheduling. I had a conflict yesterday, so thank you for moving this around so I can join, because I always like talking Dragon Con. But let's see. Oh boy, last episode, one of my things was to see my friends. So that's number 3. That's definitely not the top of the list. But obviously, I got to see some friends, but not just see them. A lot of them did panels and stuff as well, and I either got to watch their panels or help with their panels or be a part of their panels, and those all went well as well. So I was pretty excited for them. It was fun. It was a good time. So that was my number 3, is getting to check out a bunch of friends' panels.
Well, fantastic. Can you think of a panel that you really enjoyed? That a friend hosted?
Yeah. So some friends of mine that I do another podcast with, they do a panel called Sketching Shakespeare. And look, I've told them I don't care about Shakespeare. I'm not a Shakespeare fan. I'm not going to pretend just because we're friends. But they do this like improv thing where one person, the one woman, it's 2 women. One of them like literally knows everything about Shakespeare. So she's like doing all these crazy Shakespeare improvs with cues from the audience. They're coming up with ideas. And then the other woman's like literally drawing everything out as they're talking, because she's an artist. And so she's the sketching Shakespeare. So it's just a lot of fun, man. It's even who I don't know jack about Shakespeare, have fun at it, just watching them do their thing and watching other people have fun. So that was just one of them, man. There was a ton, but that's the first one that comes to mind.
I'm sure you're going to save your panel with Paul Bettany for the last. Is that what you're going to do? I get it. Look,
that's number
I'm excited
two.
I'm excited to hear all about that. I saw some of the pictures. It looked like a blast. My panel was canceled, by the way. We can get to that later, but mine was canceled without ever hearing that it was canceled. Look, it's a long story. So the academic track of Dragon Con has a reputation of not being run very well. So the fact that mine was canceled so it was accepted. Now they did make it clear when it was accepted, it was accepted like months before Dragon Con. It made it clear that this is no guarantee that it'll be part of Dragon Con, or like Dragon Con itself will accept the panel, but I didn't hear anything about it. It's like the schedule pops up on the app, and I'm like, I can't find myself. I'm just assuming it got canceled. I reached out to the person in charge, didn't hear anything back, so I just assumed, I guess my panel just was canceled, just not accepted, or it got lost. It got lost in the mail. I don't know what happened. But the funny thing about it is I was wrapping up my dissertation. I was super busy, so I was actually kind of happy that it got canceled, to be honest with you. But anyways, so just get that out of the way firsthand. Let's go ahead and move on to Matt Zee. Matt, what's one thing that you enjoyed the most this Dragon Con 2023?
I don't know about you, but this year it felt like the crowds were better dispersed. Like I actually had an easier time getting around. I know on Saturday they actually limited the 1 day sales.
1 day passes, yeah.
Right. So like it was just nice to finally like move around without being like shoulder to shoulder, being able to find people, like Tony said, hanging out with friends. That also made it a lot easier. I think a lot of people before, the big hangout place was always the Marriott. You know, you go to the atrium level and you go to the lobby level. Everybody's just packed in there. But I think as the years have gone by, the Hilton steps are where to be, especially at night during the cooler, quote unquote, fall weather. Done a fantastic job. I'm not being paid by Hilton, but they have been doing a fantastic job about like catering to people being there. They have DJs out by the stairs. Even in the main lobby area, I think they were sponsored by Nintendo, or somebody did it without Nintendo's approval, whatever, but they had this whole like Nintendo theme thing. So more and more people, I think, are flocking to the Hilton, and I think it's nice, being nicely distributed. I myself, I stay at the Hyatt. I always just hang out in the Hyatt. So it gave me more room. So it was nice to have that breathing space without having the stress of people, especially if like you're an introvert and it's hard for you to deal with the crowds as well. It was nice seeing all those people and taking it easy for a change. So, and I think I did see you at one point. I don't remember, but I didn't call you out. Yes.
Oh no, you should have called me out.
I know.
I should conversation.
We could have said hi. But because like that's the nice thing about, I'm sorry to deter here because I'm super ADD. That's the nice thing about your costume is that it's unique. So if we see you in a crowd, we know it's you. But right. that was my first point here is the crowds. It was actually nicer this year.
Yeah, I'll second that emotion. It does. So before the pandemic, it got pretty crazy. Right. How like on a Saturday in the Marriott, like you could barely move. And right. like eating, like just sitting down to eat was impossible. Even if like you left like the area, it was impossible. I did not have a single problem getting food this year, right. Which I'm kind of surprised because I thought, I don't want to say post pandemic, but like we're sort of getting past the pandemic now. So right. I thought this was going to be crazy, but there wasn't a single time where I felt like we had a difficult time getting food, other than the fact that we had a large group. Like we had like 11 people in our group. But and also I felt like there was more food like around. So Dragon Con has always, like when we first started going to Dragon Con, Jeremy, I don't know if you remember this, but if you remember correctly, there wasn't a lot of food choices. There wasn't a lot open to eat in downtown Atlanta. I feel like it's gotten better. Obviously, food trucks have helped out a ton. Thank God they have those food trucks. some of the bars were open later. Like I was able to get wings at 10 p.m., which is not good for me because if it's 10 p.m. and I can get some wings, I'm getting some damn wings. Yeah, I just felt like everything about this Dragon Con experience was a little more enjoyable because the crowds were a little condensed. And of course, if you say that, people get upset because they're like, well, I could only afford to go Saturday and I wasn't able to get a ticket. I get it, but
Right.
At a certain point, it gets so crazy. But I felt like it was an enjoyable experience because of the crowds.
They capped it this year at 70,000 tickets. So I was a part of like the opening ceremony thing at the last minute. And that was one of their things. They're like, hey, we capped it at 70,000. I've been years where it was like 90, and 90 plus. And I think that 20,000 people makes a difference. And that's what you guys are seeing, especially because those 20,000 people are all there on a Saturday.
They most certainly are. Yeah, definitely. Very good. All right, Jeremy, we'll move to you.
So one of the things that I had the most fun with was the T-shirt exchange that we did on Wednesday night.
Why don't you go ahead and tell them about this tradition? You don't have to say what the T-shirt said, but this is a new thing that we started this year.
Yeah, so I don't know if tradition it was an experiment, I guess, but it'll probably hang around. So it was kind of like a Dirty Santa kind of thing. So each person in the group got somebody else, and they essentially had a year to think of the best shirt they could get and make that person wear the rest of Wednesday night. These shirts are not fit for discussion here, but it was quite a bit of fun.
Some of the things that were said on these shirts, like the shirt that I got, I said, I am not wearing this shirt around Dragon Con.
Every single person wore their shirt except for Anthony.
That's true. But see, I got Mike a Brony shirt. I mean, that's kind of embarrassing, but it's also kind of fun in a way.
I will say yours was decidedly not the worst.
That's true. That's most certainly true. But mine was one that I was not going to wear. But yeah, very good. Excellent. So the T-shirt exchange is your answer?
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the highlights.
For those listening, he's actually wearing it now.
Yeah, right. For those of you who are listening at home. Acid, your thoughts?
I just assume it's a Trump Musk 2024 shirt that you're talking about that you don't want to wear. So I don't know.
I would rather wear that.
Really? Wow. That says a lot. That says a lot coming from you. Yeah. I don't have anything to contribute to this Dragon Con, as if I was not there. However, I do know that one of our drivers attended Dragon Con.
It was you that told me about. Okay, you were the one that told me that Johnny Depp.
Yes,
okay.
he did Johnny Depp each night. So he did an Edward Scissorhands. He did.
We saw him.
You did see him, okay?
Well,
yeah.
We saw a guy who looked just like Johnny Depp. He's dressed as Johnny Depp.
Yeah, he's pretty accurate. Like it's pretty scary how accurate it is. Like during the Halloween season, he'll usually drive his bus dressed as Jack Sparrow. So it's pretty nifty what he does. So
he went all in too. He started
he's
yelling
super
at
tall
women too. I thought that was kind of...
Do what?
I just said he started yelling at women. He was all in character.
Yeah, good. That's good. Yeah, but yeah, he's super tall. He does a really good job with it. But yeah, he was back. He said he had a good time. So, yeah, that's all the Dragon Con I can contribute.
Acid, you could have just said you were there. Like, I just didn't see you. I would have
done that. I was dressed.
Oh man,
yeah,
make something
so crazy.
I was dressed
70,000 people. What can you
the
do?
Bearded Elon Musk. That's where I was. Yeah.
Matt saw me and he just refused to say hi.
He did.
The less interaction I have with people, the better.
I hear you.
So do you go? So Matt, do you go with a group or you just head out?
Yes,
you do.
Oh, I head there with I stay with a friend, but then I just kind of text people as it happens
as it goes. So would you say? I mean, I guess this is for everybody. Would you say it's starting to grow a little more since the pandemic? Like, is the crowd back Is Dragon Con back at full capacity, if you want to call it that?
It was kind of at full capacity during the pandemic.
I mean, was it? Okay.
I mean, it wasn't like
no one stayed away.
Crazy.
Now, were any crazy, like, because when I went to Combo Breaker last year, they were still making us wear masks. Was that an issue this year for y'all?
No, and many of us got sick too. Did you? Wait. So, quick trivia question. Matt, con crud, yes, no?
Yes, always.
Wow.
Okay, Tony, con crud, yes, no?
Nope. No con crud, no COVID for like 4 years running, man. I got it under control.
Vitamin C.
I will say, so for me, no COVID, but con crud. Okay. Jeremy, con crud, yes, no?
No, of course not.
He doesn't believe in it. As long as you don't believe in it. So my answer, of course, I feel like we have a theme for our first, and that's going to be friends, just hanging out with a group. The group that me and Jeremy go with, it keeps getting larger and larger. It's becoming harder and harder to like get like seats together when we go out to eat. But it's always fun to hang out with the crew. We kind of like typically split up, or I typically leave oftentimes to cosplay. I know I cosplay a lot this year. So my Venom Stormtrooper cosplay, I think 3 days where I spent several hours in it, just trying to hold it together as it falls apart, which it always does when you're out there. But yeah, Matt, you have a question.
You need a handler. Anything that requires armor, you need especially if you're wearing a helmet, you can't see if stuff falls off. So when I went dressed as Snake Eyes, my ex at the time, she would follow me around. It's like, hey, your butt's hanging off, stuff like that. So yeah. Pay Alinda to go with you and be like, hey.
Well, first of all, that's never going to happen. She has no interest in that whatsoever. But the first night on Thursday when I wore it, I was kind of walking with the group, and that helped out a ton. Just figuring out how easily some of like the tentacles that I have that pop out, they have magnets, but if it touches something slightly, it falls off. So then I'm able to catch it. But every other day, the other 2 days, I had to kind of go off by myself because everyone was kind of doing their own thing. So I kind of took everything off. Basically, I had the helmet off, I had the tentacles off, I carried everything. And once I found a spot, that's when I put everything on. Or actually, I asked people to help me. Like, I was like, hey, you mind? This is how we put the tentacles on. I put the helmet on.
Can you grab my tentacles?
Like randos?
Just random. I'll go just random. Well, because what would end up happening, it was actually pretty easy. I would get there, helmet in a hand, tentacles in another hand, and someone would say, dude, that's an awesome costume, man. Can I take a picture? Sure. Can you help me put it together? It happened every time. It happened every time. So, like, I would find my spot, put everything on, and once I was in my spot, I could kind of just hang out there. And I'll save this for my next thing. But, yeah, so hanging out with friends. We did a D&D campaign, which I had to leave, or one shot, which I had to leave early to make it to the Star Wars cosplay contest, which I did not win. But I was a little disappointed that I had to leave that very soon. But just hanging out with everybody, seeing everybody again. I think next year, Jeremy, we have a group cosplay that we're going to do. We're going to do We Blue Ourselves, where we're all blue characters. Super excited about that. But yeah, wow. I would agree. Yeah. Hanging out with friends would be my number one. All right. Moving on to number 2, Tony, what you got?
Yeah, so I did have the opportunity to do moderate a few panels. I did a panel with Matt Ryan, Katie Lotz, and Adam Schenkman. They were great. Matt Ryan was super amazing.
The quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons.
That was the first thing I asked him. I was like, so, like, we're in Atlanta. He's like, yeah, I used to live here. And people all the time thought I was the football player. I was like, well, did you tell them you weren't? He's like, no, I just let them think it. So, nice. So yeah, at Matt Ryan in Atlanta, that's the first thing I have to ask. Although I feel like most of the room didn't care about football, but when am I going to get that chance again?
I always think of it the other way. When I hear Matt Ryan, I think of Constantine.
There you go.
You're right.
And there's also a football player.
Right. That's how I see it.
You don't play fantasy football. I'll just say that. But go on.
I did a panel with Nicole Maines and Jesse Rath from Supergirl. They were great. But yeah, man, the big one was Paul Bettany on a Saturday afternoon. I was freaking out, was pretty nervous. But it went well, man. He came backstage. He's like a giant. Like, I mean, I'm not that tall, but I don't know. I feel like 6'4", 6'3", 6'4".
Wow.
And he's Paul Bettany, and fucking vision. I was like, oh, okay. But because of the writer strike, we couldn't talk about Avengers. We couldn't talk about Knight's Tale, any of the things. So we had a random conversation about just his life and things that he's into and how he met his wife, which is Jennifer Connelly, by the way. Oh. And then people submitted random questions about him appearing in nude scenes because he was nude in Knight's Tale. And he gladly talked about it. It was family friendly, but still talked about it. And apparently Paul Bettany, aka Vision, loves cheese. We talked about cheese for like 10 whole minutes, and absolutely despises peanut butter and jelly. I don't know. We didn't even bring that up. I just felt like he had it on his chest, and he's been waiting for this moment to talk to people about how much he disliked peanut butter and jelly.
I'm okay. Like, I agree with that. I do not like peanut butter and jelly either. I do like peanut butter and honey, but I do not like peanut butter and jelly.
I'll let him know next time. I'll be, hey, man, you're not the only one.
I know a guy.
Ew.
What, peanut butter and honey? It's good.
Yeah. Ew.
Peanut butter and honey is good.
That's too much on the sweet side. Like the jelly, like the fruit tart, not so really tart, but like the fruit acid kind of balances it out.
When I use peanut butter, I use all natural, not the
acid. Yeah.
Yeah, I like the bitter.
Okay.
Peanut butter and honey is what they used to put in our paper sack lunches at school when we went on a field trip.
Yeah,
right. Those were the field trip sandwiches.
That was it. And that white like wax paper.
Yes,
yeah.
and you got the rotten apple with it. It was horrible.
Or terrible. The best.
And honey doesn't spoil, so it lasts a while. But
it does.
Yeah, it was a good panel. It was on DCTV, which apparently they played in the mall because someone sent me a picture. They're like, "This is happening. Is this you right now?" I was like, "Oh God, what?" So yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was probably the biggest interview I've done yet, and yeah, it was exciting. But
Tony, I have a question.
That's only number 2. That wasn't my number 1, so you'll have to wait. But you have a question. What's up?
So this is a question that I don't know if this is a little too inside baseball, like talking about like the politics of Dragon Con, if you will, right? The hierarchy of Dragon Con, the volunteer staff, right? Obviously, you seem to be moving up the ladder here, right? You started off at a certain point, and now you're moving up. How does that work? Like, how do you get Paul Bettany? Is it because they say he's been around for a long time, he's been doing great on panels? Let's talk to Tony. Is that how does that work exactly?
So I started doing panel. So my very, very first panel I ever did was I think 25th anniversary of Pee-wee's Big Adventure, the American sci-fi track did. It's my favorite movie of all time. And so I was like, I got to be on that. And they're like, sure, come on. And I had a blast. I was like, oh, this is great. This was a good time. Then I got more involved in the digital media track, which is the podcasting and YouTube track. So for a couple of years, I did a lot of panels with them. And then we did, when it was COVID, it was virtual. And so I was asked to do virtual moderation with, oh man, what did that, created Miles Morales. Forgot his name. I'll remember later. Okay. Anyway, did a virtual thing with him. And then, yeah, to your point, like the quote unquote powers that be, which let me tell you, it's a tiny little group of people that are actually like employees of the con. It's a very small little circle. And a couple of people
like
saw
wearing
that.
like masks, like a long nose. You don't even see their faces.
Oh, it's like Eyes Wide Shut or something. Yeah, no, it's not nearly that cool. They do have good snacks though. I'll say that. But someone saw that, and then they're like, "Oh, do you want to do this next year?" Sure. And then that went well, and then it was. I'm now one of the like older, not physical. Oh, I think I am also age old, but one of the more like seasoned, tenured moderators. And then what's crazy is they have a few, but a lot of the big panels happen at the same time. So no one person can be everywhere at once. And I learned they do that on purpose. Well, I think they do it on purpose to spread everything out.
I think that's smart.
So you can't have one moderator be in 4 places. So, because of all that, the way it fell, the guy I work with was like, hey, you want to do Paul Bettany? So yeah, it was great, man. And it went really well. And people seem to enjoy it. He seemed to enjoy it. So yeah, if you're interested, let me know. There's, you got it. Usually it helps if you do some stuff on the track first.
Right.
Well, that's kind of to answer your question, and then we can move on. Like if you moderate some panels on a track, and then you eventually become a professional guest, then eventually you step up from that. That's my progression, and that's what I've seen a lot of other people have a similar progression.
Yeah, the reason why I bring this up is because, like, I've been in a lot of panels, seen a lot of moderators. Some of them are great. Like, I'm like, oh wow, this person knows what they're doing, right? And then every once in a while, I'll see a panel, and I'm like, okay, I can do this, or like I'm not even trying to insult the person. I'm just saying, like,
I agree with you.
Like, I feel like I could do a great job. Like, I could do great at this particular thing, right? Like, I could MC this thing pretty well. So I was like, but I don't want to be like the line guy at midnight. Like, I don't want to start there to get to whatever. But yeah.
And you and I have a similar path in that we do podcasting. We've done open mics. That's the biggest thing I think that helped me is those darn open mics, man, because that's not easy, you know. And so the people that aren't as good, I just feel like. And also, you're a talker. I'm a talker. We're talking people. I feel like the people that aren't as good don't have the confidence in carrying a conversation. So honestly, and I'm not just saying it because I'm on your show, like, I think that's something you would be good at because you're a talker, you know.
I'm a talker.
I was at an Arrow panel, I'll never forget, and I said the same thing you did. I was like, yeah, these people kind of suck. I can do better than that. And that was all driven by spite, like most things. I was, so.
Like, I felt like the guy did fine, but I was like, I feel like I can knock this thing out of the park. Anyways, moving on. Matt, number 2.
I am going to ride off of the coattails of Tony here and say a panel. So I normally don't go to panels, but Elijah Wood and I almost said Sean Bean. Good Lord. Sean Astin. Thank you. Yeah, they were there. So I had to go see, obviously, Sam and Frodo. And not just being able to see them, but like you said, because of the writer strike going on right now, it's a big thing. So we were actually surprised that they got as many guests as they could, because the problem is you can't be promoting current, future, or even past because they're still making money off of the stuff. So obviously you go see Elijah Wood and Sean Astin together to hear about Lord of the Rings. So this whole panel essentially became redacted the panel. So they wanted so badly to talk about, like, Lord of the Rings, but they couldn't say it. So the whole panel became this guessing game of, like, let's talk about this movie, but let's, like, vaguely describe it and see if the audience can figure it out. So, I mean, obviously, Lord of the Rings was about 4 short people going on a hike. So they were constantly talking about that. And at one point, I think he mentioned King Kong, because I did not know Sean Astin was in King Kong. Peter Jackson's King Kong. So he was talking about a movie where a bunch of people go to an island and they see a really big thing. So it was really good to hear. They didn't talk too much about the experiences, because I guess they've talked those to death. But it was just good hearing them talk, because the two have a really good dynamic together. They play off of each other very well. At one point, I was just like, just kiss already. So it was fun hearing it. And Sean Astin is part of the committee doing the negotiations for the strike. And it was really good to hear him talk passionately about something that means a lot to people right now, and not to deter the conversation here about Dragon Con or anything, but, like, the strike is really affecting a lot of people, especially here in Atlanta. A friend of mine who actually makes my costumes, God Save the Queen Fashions, she works in the industry and she is out of work. And I was talking to her, and she said, based off of history, this is probably going to go on through next year. So it's rough right now. So Sean and I'm on a first name basis with them. Sean and Elijah, they were basically spent most of the time talking about how this is affecting everything. It was kind of neat to hear it firsthand and how important this essentially is. So, but in short, yeah, panels. I should really do them more often. We actually left early another panel about how to make sodas to go see them. So I think it was a wise choice, unless Sean Astin and Elijah Wood suddenly started talking about how to make sodas. That would have been great. But yeah.
Could have been a big fish panel.
Exactly.
They could have talked big fish. It'd have been okay.
Wait, like the Tim Burton movie book. Did they make sodas in that?
Oh, they could have. I don't know. It's been a while since I've seen it. But yeah, Elijah Wood was in Big Fish. So.
Was he? I don't remember. I saw the movie once.
Yeah, Elijah Wood was in Big Fish.
What?
Yeah.
They filmed that near my hometown.
Yeah.
It was a big deal.
Like if I remember right, it takes place. Parts of it takes place in Auburn, but Auburn wouldn't let them film there.
Yeah,
and so it was filmed in places like Birmingham and just around the Alabama area.
Yep.
I need to rewatch it, but I'm just scared because like it was sad. I'm like,
I remember not liking it.
I gotta jump on. Well, first off, I'm glad you made it to a panel. I'm partial to the panels. I love them. And you mentioned, now I'm blanking out. Sean, our first name,
Sean Astin, exactly,
is a part of the group, like the I don't know what the heck you want to call it, the board of SAG or whatever.
Right.
And
he's on the negotiating committee.
Yes. Well, he represents cons and convention appearances, and him. I don't know how much I should say, but like. The reason he came, a lot of people, he wants the cons to keep happening. And he was like, we can work this out. We can find a middle. And that's kind of his area. And he came as a show of faith to like the other actors. Like, look, we know you guys feel uncomfortable, but don't worry. I'm here. I'm doing it too. We can do this and still have fun without promoting stuff.
Right.
It was a challenge. It was a weird year, but I liked it. I don't want to hear, why didn't you guys take the bird to Mordor again? Like,
Exactly. And they probably had to answer that so many times. You can find a YouTube channel on it that has it. But like, even with like Dragon Con's social media, I'm not sure if you're a part of that, but like whenever they would get a new guest, obviously they couldn't say, oh, we got so-and-so from Star Trek Strange New Worlds. They would say something, oh, we got Anson Mount. I wonder what his favorite sandwich is. And that's what that post would be about. And at first I got angry. I'm like, tell me where these people are from, and then it hit me. It's like, oh, duh, they can't. So they got to be as like fun and creative with it as possible. So kudos to them.
Well, very good, excellent. So panels seems to be the theme of this second round here. Jeremy, are you getting away from the theme, or are you sticking with it?
I mean, I can wait and talk about it next round, but mine was going to be panels as well.
Okay, let's do it. Let's go.
Yes.
I was at the Sean Astin, Elijah Wood panel as well. It was really good. It was one of the better run ones in recent years.
I heard the Paul Bettany one was a piece of
but I also went to what would be the Firefly panel, which was run in a very different way, and they did not care about dropping names at all. So it was kind of funny how different those two panels were. But it was the first time seeing Jewel State. She was delightful. It was good. It was fun. I wish that they could have got the full cast, but it was still fun.
Didn't Baldwin get in trouble for something like recently, and that's why he's kind of dropped off the face of the earth?
He's very conservative.
That's what it was.
And so, yeah, depending on the climate at the time, he's in various stages of ill repute.
Wasn't Nathan Fillion originally supposed to come and he had to cancel? Is that true, or am I making that up?
No, that's true. He was supposed to be there. He canceled, but then Gina Torres came in his place.
All right, well, very good. So Jeremy also enjoyed the panels. I'll slightly, because I didn't go to many panels this year. So I'll go ahead and talk about my Tony's just shaking his head in disapproval. I actually went to
disapproval, disdain, disgust, all of it.
I went to a Star Trek Adventures panel. But anyways, moving on. So let's talk about my cosplay experience. All right, so I upgraded my Venom Trooper cosplay last year. I did the armor. I originally had a helmet that I bought at Dragon Con, but this year I thought I want to make some upgrades. So I did you can kind of see in the background for those of you who are watching at home. You can see there that I added the tongue, I added the teeth coming out, and I added some tentacles coming out the back with some magnets. That way they could be detachable. All right, so added some upgrades, fixed a couple things on the Venom cosplay. And this year was basically, I'm just going to see how long I can last in this thing, right? So Thursday, spent several hours wearing it. Huge hit, like in terms of if we're gonna measure photograph requests per minute, like it was just constant, right? Which is fantastic because as someone who often feels uncomfortable, like with the idea of what cosplay is, like the idea of like, but also loves the attention that comes from cosplay because I'm a very needy extrovert, right? Is that it's the best way to describe it for people who don't understand. It's almost like you created a work of art, like you painted something and you took it to an exhibit and you just sat there and watched people enjoy it. That's what it is. So I'm wearing the cosplay, and every time I get a photo request, that's that validation that I'm getting from people. And it turns into like photograph. And I'm just there. I'm like, I'm just going to keep hanging out here until people stop asking for photographs. And of course, it gets to a point where you're like, yeah, this is never going to end. Right? People are going to constantly ask for photographs. So at one point, like, I just need to like leave. But so, Thursday, I think Saturday and Sunday, I spent several hours in it, obviously trying to hold it together as it sort of falls apart on me. But like I told you before, my strategy was put everything on, take the helmet off so I can see everything, take the tentacles off so I have them in my hand, get to my location, and then put everything together and just hang out in one spot. And that's kind of what I did. Like, I moved around every once in a while if I noticed like things were going on that were like, for example, if like another cosplayer like came into my zone, like I moved because I was like, he's taking away my photographs. Like, it's so weird how like that kind of stuff sort of revolves in your head.
It's like a pose off, like a fitness competition pose off.
It's literally a pose off. So I'll be in one spot, and then I start noticing I'm not getting a lot of photograph requests. I don't know what's happening. So I'll just go move. And as soon as I move, I find a new spot. I just hang out there, which really is arrogant. Like, it's like the most like narcissistic thing you could possibly do is like standing a location and say, hey, this is worthy of pictures. Like, but it's the weirdest. Go ahead, Matt.
I was about to say, but that's part of why we do this.
Yeah, almost certainly.
I was about to ask, where was your primary spot?
It's the Marriott.
I was about to say the atrium level.
Atrium level Marriott.
By the sail barge, right after you get off the escalators.
That's where I get the most photo requests. That's where you get the biggest flow of people. Like, they're just constantly moving, right? So like, you just find a spot. I'm hanging out there. Every once in a while, someone will come by and like let's say it's like someone who is in a Carnage outfit or like a Star Wars outfit, like a Mandalorian.
Right.
That person wants to take a photo with me. That's when everyone comes. Like, that's when the waves start coming.
It's the groups. Now, when you saw somebody, say you saw like either another Venom or another Trooper, did you do that thing where you point, you kind of like spot each other in the crowd?
You go, let's go.
Yeah, exactly. Because like you have the helmet on, so obviously you can't yell at the person. And so you gesture to them, and you've just made a new best friend for those 5 minutes. So
that's true. Yeah, it's kind of it's an insane experience. And once again, ask my wife. I'm a very needy extrovert. Like, I need constant validation. So cosplay is right up my alley. Like, it's like the most. It's like social media on like steroids.
So what you've done is you've bought the game Dragon Con, and you've purchased a cosmetic skin, and now you're standing in the town square with this new cosmetic skin, wanting people to take screenshots with you. That's all. That's what just happened. That's it.
And it's like, so you spend 3 months working on this thing.
It is, yeah.
And like when people say, "Oh, dude, that's awesome," that's like boom. That's like an endorphin. It's an endorphin rush. So every time you get, so if it's just a photo request, or if it's someone's like, "Dude, that's so that's all that," I got a couple like, "That's the best one I've seen all day." That one. Like you have a half chub.
Yeah. See when I showed my wife the picture of you in your outfit, she was like, "It looks like he's dressed as a Borg that had an allergic reaction to shellfish."
That too. That's another. That could be possibly. But yeah. So it was fantastic. The response that I got from people of the cosplay was great. I didn't win the costume contest. We can talk about the costume contest, but I feel like that's another whole segment. But anyways, yeah, cosplaying. I also did Mirror Universe Kirk, which wasn't as big of a hit, although I certainly should have done it at the Star Trek panels. I should have cosplayed at those panels. That's the place to do it. There was a huge mistake. Anyways, so cosplay was my number 2. Acid, your thoughts?
My number 2 was also the panels. I didn't go to any, but they sounded fantastic.
Hey, so 2 things. One, you can buy the Dragon Con streaming app for $10
and watch all the panels
and check out all the panels. Seriously, yeah. There's like the main
BlizzCon
interviews
does
that they were talking about, and then they also have like fan panels that people put together as well. And Anthony, I got to say, like, I don't do cosplay. I just don't have the endurance that you do, man. But like, I totally get it. It's the same reason I do the moderation. Like, you say a joke on stage and everybody's laughing. It's the same reason we've met at a damn open mic, dude. Like, you get on stage, you get that laugh, you get people say, "Oh, it was so much fun." I totally get it. It's just a different medium, but it's
why
same.
I'm a teacher. Honestly, it's why I'm a teacher.
It's the same exact.
It's the same concept.
Yep. Dude, Jeremy's
laughing. I don't know why Jeremy's laughing about that.
I make training materials and I make like videos for work. And so same thing. I like to make something and then like, go, "Did you like the thing that I made? Look at it."
Does everybody like this thing? Yeah, certainly. Most certainly. Yeah. We'll kind of move on to number 3. Tony, what you got?
Did we run through everybody already? We did. All right. So number 3.
I think so. I think we did. Jeremy, did we miss you? No, we got you.
No, he also said panels.
It was panels.
That was the panel round.
So my number 1, which again was not Paul Bettany. I had my number 1 pre-show when we talked about it was I'm gonna make it to Aviva. Is it Aviva? Aviva by Camille. I'm gonna make it.
Here we go.
I've been to Dragon Con. I've lost count, like 17 years, man. Never been to Aviva by Camille. I mentioned that on a Dragon Con town hall. And they were like, "What? We got to do something." So Thursday afternoon, I was supposed to do a like social media segment with the group at Aviva by Camille, but my flight was delayed. And then actually, that wasn't true. My flight wasn't delayed. I got added to something else I had to do, and I just didn't have the time. So like, I was walking to my hotel. I saw it because I cut through the food court, got off the train, cut through the food court. I was like, "Oh, there they are." I was supposed to be at that. I went and said hello. Was like, "Hey, everybody, can't make it. Got to go." I was in there, Anthony. I was in there, and I didn't get food, and I had to leave.
Wait, hold on. You still did not eat at Aviva by Camille?
But that was Thursday. That was Thursday.
Okay.
So then I think it was Saturday. I had an easier schedule. I was doing something. I was like, "Oh, I need to eat." I was like, "I'll cut through the food court and see what's popping off." And there it was. It was about 6:45. There was no line. Yeah, there was still a line, but it wasn't like out the door because they closed at 7. And I said, this is it. We're doing this. And I got in line and I finally got my Aviva by Camille. And I met Camille and it was everything you said and more. And I did it. I did it. And it was delicious. It was, people hype stuff up and then you're always just let down.
Yeah.
Nope. It was everything you said, everything everyone has said. I got like
I want to know your order. Tell me everything.
Free samples.
Yeah.
Got some free baklava. I guess it was, he was just like, here, All right, cool, man. I think I got the lamb because I tried it. Somebody said get the chicken. They were like the roast chicken or rosary chicken, whatever they had. They're like, that's
rosemary,
the move.
Rosemary chicken's very delicious. Yeah,
that one, the rosemary chicken. I was like, all right, cool. I'm open. But then he was like, here, try this, and it was the lamb, and I was like, yeah, that shit's pretty good. I was like, just give me that. So I got that, some rice, some hummus, and a third side. Now I messed up. I added the hummus because I got the rice, and the rice was okay. Like, man, that's not
yeah.
why
So I agree with that statement.
The hummus I should have gotten as my side. And then what else? What else did I get? I don't even remember, dude. But it was all delicious. Some pita, of course. So yeah, ate half of it, enjoyed it, took a little break Saturday night, and then went and saw Cybertronic Spree, which is that's not one of my top 3, but it was also good. And then I went back and ate more food. So it was a great evening.
I feel like this is going to be the theme because food is my number. Hold on. All right, so Matt, what you got? What's your number? What's your number 1?
I'm gonna break the trend here. Mine was not food. If anything, I go to the food court between the hotels, and I just go get like a great wrap or something because like I'm on con. I used to go to there is a burger brewery across the street from the Hyatt, Max Loggers. I used to go there a lot. Check that place out if you can, but recently it's like I'll just eat what's necessary to get back out on the con floor. So once again, I'm going to ride off the curtails of you, Anthony, cosplay, because there is nothing like there's that moment when you're in the hotel room and you're looking at the costume and you're going to be like, I'm gonna feel so stupid walking out this. Nobody's gonna know what this is. Nobody's gonna like this. And you get in the elevator. The elevator's open. You feel weird walking down the hamster tunnel at first, but then like the moment that one person, they may not take a picture, but that one person points at you and says, "Hey, that's a great looking whatever." Like that's enough right there. The endorphins go flying. I'm on my high horse. I'm high as fuck, and like it's the greatest thing ever. Like I said. Hunting for photos, there's groups are the best. So like when you guys do the group next year, you think it's hard to get from one place to another, but when somebody sees more than like 3 or 4 people together as something, like you might as that's where you live now. You live in the Marriott now. A bit of advice: if you want professional photos, go to the Hilton Steps. All the photographers set up there because it's got really good lighting. There's no direct sun that hits. A lot of people set up under the staircases, so I've gotten some really good photos there. I met like a really good photographer. He took. I was dressed up as Leon from. I took it really easy this year. The past few years, I've done these not complicated, but very uncomfortable costumes. This year, it was basically a bomber jacket and just regular clothes. And
Resident Evil, you said
4.
Leon.
Yep, Resident Evil 4 remake. So it's the big bomber jacket. Yeah. I found the company that makes the actual the jacket that it's based off of. It's a company out of New York, so it's a really cool jacket. But and I met this really cool photographer named Gabe, and like we got a bunch of really cool photos together. I met another guy named Brian. And they'll give you like their Instagram. They'll take time to edit them, and you'll get some really nice photos. So like I said, head to the Hilton Steps. Always head to the Hilton Steps. Avoid like the big meetups because you get lost in the crowd. I used to do like the big Marvel meetups. They're fun, but like you're like a speck at the top of the stairs somewhere at one point. So
I was curious about that because I saw the Barbie one. It was like 400 people.
That was cool though.
It was cool. Not gonna lie.
That was cool because they're all like together.
The same.
Yeah, they're all uniform and like that was the. Speaking of cosplay, that. I love this culture so much. It's like it's the happiest anybody ever is. Whenever a Barbie sees another Barbie or another Ken sees another Ken, they're always like, "Hey, Barbie!"
Hey, Barbie.
And so like it's like the culture is just so great. Like I said, you don't know these people, but like you see another Stormtrooper, you see another Star Wars character, they'll point you out, they'll get selfies with you or whatever. But like it's just really good. And the worst thing about it, though, and like I said, once again, this is just the endorphin rush, is that when you're at a costume and you run into somebody that you met while in costume and they don't recognize you, it's like, hey, I was so-and-so. And they're like, get away from me, you weirdo. I mean, like, it's but like it's still fun. It's still fun.
Yeah.
One thing I do want to point out is when I was last year or the year before, or probably actually before the pandemic, I went as Loki from Avengers. So I had like these really big shoulder pads. I was like 3 layers of leather and the really big helmet. I lasted 4 hours. I want you to beat that next year, because yours is probably like, I'm pretty sure it's hard to move in that. You can't see shit. What's your visibility like in that?
So visibility is not bad. The only thing about the visibility in this helmet, I've had worse visibility in other Venom masks.
Right.
This visibility is not that bad. The only thing is like I really can't see it like around.
Right.
So oftentimes I can't tell if something is wrong on me. So if my butt flap is off, or like a tentacle fell down, like I can't tell. So
that's what I was going to say. That's why he said you need a handler.
Get Adam.
Step it up.
We'll fund Adam. How's that? We all chip in. We fund Adam.
There you go. I have to quit my job first.
I always feel weird because I am literally by myself most of the time. Thursdays, both years, I've had people around me because that's just on Thursday night. They don't really have plans. So they're just walking around. So like our group that we go with is kind of just with us, so I'm cosplaying. So they're just around so they can help out. But like on a Saturday and a Sunday, it's basically like, they're off doing panels. I'm like, you know what? I kind of want to wear cosplay and do the whole spiel. So like I once again take the helmet off, take the tentacles off, make sure I can see I'm not dropping anything as I walk there, get to my spot, load up, and then just hang out. So that's kind of been my strategy. And when I'm about to leave, take everything back off.
Right.
My
motivation has always been, especially like with the bigger ones, is like it took me like an hour to get into this. I am not taking this off for like another 4 or so hours. So that's always been my motivation, because like I'm not going to get to wear this again. If I wear this to work, then then we got an HR problem on our hands. So it's like, value that time, take that into consideration, and if you can beat 4 hours, I'll buy you lunch. I'll buy you a drink. So.
Oh wow! Okay, I'll take a drink. That's most certainly sounds fantastic to me. But
especially after wearing a costume for 5 hours,
you don't need one.
Hydrate.
So I most certainly could do 4 hours. I think that would be easy for me. But I will say this: I think I'm retiring the Venom cosplay. I think that's going to be on the mantle here, and I'm moving on to a new thing for the summer.
No, to be fair, no shame in re-wearing costumes. At Target, they've got these giant bins. That's why I carry all mine in, and I lug them into the hotel. I've worn my Loki for about 5 years now. Same thing with my Snake Eyes, and like it still gets the same attention every year. So it's great to have like a wardrobe change every day. So like, don't feel bad about bringing it back. Also, another fun thing to do is have a night drinking costume, something that's easy. Like I said, Starfleet uniforms are the best to do. The two best drinking costumes, I think, are Starfleet uniforms and Jedi robes. So, because like you don't have to worry about it falling apart, and they look.
Yeah, great. So that's another issue that I ran into is like, so when I wear the Mirror Universe Kirk, I feel like even that was like, if I wanted to enjoy my time, even that was sort of dampering thing.
Right.
Because I had a dagger that kept falling off, and like I had different things. So like if I need to find a good like cosplay, but I can just enjoy my night kind of a thing.
And yeah. And for the group, just go as a bunch of red shirts. Everybody loves red shirts. You lay in the ground, you act dead. People freaking love it. So,
well, fantastic. I think I'm going to do so for our blue group that we're going to do, Jeremy. I bought, I'll say it, an overpriced item. I spent a lot of money on a Starfleet jacket. So it's a science officer Starfleet jacket that I bought at DragonCon this year. It was my splurge.
I was going to ask, you get one item every year. Was that your one?
I do. This has been a tradition every year. I get one item where I overspend on this item. I bought a jacket that's a science officer jacket, blue, Starfleet uniform, definitely overpriced. spent a lot of money on this jacket.
Right.
But I'll be able to use it for next year if we do our blue theme.
And especially if you do like the night drinking costume, like if a lot of people do the same things. Like I said, there's a lot of Jedi robes out there. Like change it up. It's like a friend of mine. He does a Starfleet uniform for his party outfit, but he does night crew. So they like tear off the sleeves. They put on like a Hawaiian thing. So it's like a night party version of those. And like for my Jedi Luke, I put on a baby carrier and put Grogu in it, and I did like a hangover mashup with Luke Skywalker and Grogu. So like I said, change it up, be creative with it, but still be comfortable.
I think I'm gonna go Andorian. I've been looking into prosthetics too, like do Andorian, maybe a little.
If you're already blue.
Yeah, because I'm going all blue, baby.
Yeah. So
very good. Excellent. All right, so Jeremy, what's your number one? What you got for us?
I don't know if it's number one. I didn't do them in any particular order. But I did actually buy something for myself this year at the vendors, which I'll likely use. So I got a pretty nice set of dice in a rolling tray. So yeah, I'm excited about that. I of course bought a ton of comics and novels that I'll never read. But I always buy them to try to support the independent artists. So they'll probably just go in my ever-growing collection. But yeah, the dice I will use. I rolled the first roll I ever did with them was a nat 20. So I have high hopes.
Very good.
So like, I gotta ask, like, it sounds like they're not cheap dice. Like it sounds like they were maybe a little more than you would.
Yeah, they were 150.
So did you know what you wanted and you like beelined and got them, or was it one of those like, oh, I kind of want that, and then you walked around and kept coming back to it? Like,
So I'm a big Bowie fan, and I knew I wanted some dice, and so I happened across a set that was named Goblin King, and so I immediately bought them.
I mean, that's meant to be.
Yeah.
I hate to bring it back to this, but it does relate. Somebody in the audience asked Paul Bettany if he ever dressed up as the Goblin King, considering his wife is Jennifer Connelly. And he said, no, that's so weird. She was a child. He's like, I would never do that. I was like, hey, the fans wanted to know. They got the deep questions.
Very good. Weird. Excellent. Should we talk about how expensive my Starfleet uniform jacket was? Should I go ahead?
I feel like you want to.
I'm going to say 700.
Well, it's not that much.
5.
I was thinking 5.
Okay, good. I feel so much better. It was $315 for just the jacket.
For just the jacket.
Right.
Okay.
Is it in the room with you?
It is not in the room with me.
Oh, okay.
Well, thanks. We'll take your word for it.
Yeah,
you don't wear the shirt.
Starfleet-looking science officer jacket.
Why don't you just keep adding on to your Venom, and you wear your Venom costume, and you put the jacket over the Venom costume, and now you're a Starfleet Venom.
I thought another mashup I could do was Cyclops. Just put the Cyclops visor on with the Starfleet jacket. Put like an X-Men thing on.
Yep.
Like just like a Star Trek Cyclops X-Men cosplay mashup thing. That'd be kind of fun. Very good. Jeremy, should we talk about how we may have found our favorite hotel that may be the hotel for the rest of our con experience?
Sure. I don't know. Do you want to give the secret away?
I was going to say, you're going to put take the cat out of the bag?
I mean, to all of our 3 listeners, like I guess.
Did you already book it for next year?
Both of us have booked. We're both on. Should we?
There you go.
The best. So me and Jeremy have stayed at many hotels throughout our time.
Shady, but all right.
At Dragon Con.
And not just at Dragon Con. Yeah.
I should have let you finish
right now.
Me and him together.
They're in a hotel right now.
Yeah. So we've tried many different hotels. Jeremy famously had a hotel room at the Marriott, which he famously hated.
Elevators.
But yeah, Matt, go. First of all, I want to hear Matt. Matt, what's your hotel? Go.
Hyatt. a legacy, so I don't have to fight every year. And I'm in one of the private towers where each floor only has about 5 rooms, and they're card access elevators, so I never have to fight for an elevator.
Nice.
Oh wow, yeah. That's good stuff right there.
Well traveled, sir. Well done.
Let's just say this: me and Jeremy have found a hotel that is in many ways the perfect location. We never had a fight for the elevator. With the room was great. Just everything about it was fantastic, and it may be our favorite spot for the remainder of our time.
Is it a host hotel?
It is not a host hotel.
Then it's the Aloft.
It is not the Aloft. We have stayed at the Aloft.
Oh, is it imaginary?
It is not. It is imaginary. It is we sleep on the street.
Imaginary by Hilton. Yeah.
I don't think we should give away the because maybe people don't know about it.
We
all the beds are heart shaped.
I don't know. Tony knows what it is because he guessed it on the pre-show.
Did I? Because my guess would have been a loft. That's like
no.
The one good one that's closer than the Westin. It's across from the food court. It's close to everything. I don't know any of the other ones, honestly.
A loft is farther. Isn't a loft a farther?
Yeah.
Not one of the Westins, obviously, because Westins are.
It's not the Westin.
Not the Westin.
No, very good. I will say the only negative about this particular hotel, this is the only negative of the whole thing, is that they don't serve coffee in the morning. Like you can't go to like a coffee station, right? And like just hang
Matt's
out.
like, I don't care.
Flip the table. No, like flip the table. Game over. Coffee.
Well, actually,
get out of here.
Hold on. So this, if you know me, this is a kind of a weird thing about me, is that one of my favorite things to do at fan conventions is to wake up early in the morning and write. That's something
that makes sense.
That's something that I get a kick out of for whatever reason. I call it a beta blocker because you have so much endorphins going on that you need something to kind of like channel you. And the way that you sort of like you hamper that is like, I'm going to work on some stuff for a couple of hours. Like I'm going to get some writing done. I'm going to get some work done for a couple of hours. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to drink some coffee and I'm going to get work done. And it sort of like re-centers you. And then you can sort of like just experience those endorphin overload again. It's a weird thing.
No, it makes sense though, man. The Hyatt has so Thursday, I was traveling. I was tired. I was cranky. I didn't eat well, like at all, honestly. And so by Thursday night, I was like, I'm calling it an early night. I'm done. But then I got up early the next day and had breakfast at the Hyatt. It's a little pricey for what it is, but it's a hotel breakfast. What are you going to do? But it was nice.
Yeah, the Hyatt. Is that the one that has the $30 breakfast buffet?
Shui.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was, Anthony. Yeah. That's exactly what it was.
I don't remember it being 30. I think they hiked it up. I think it was 20 at one point. I think
18. It was like 18, I think, one year.
Yeah, so 18, that's fair. Like I was desperate. I was like, man, I need a really good meal. I need some water. I need some coffee. I need to like kick this day off right. And I was like, fine, I'll pay the 30. And I never went back. It was good. I was glad I got it, but I just never had a reason to go back. But they did give me a bottle of water on the way out. And I was like, yo, that's worth like $5 around.
That's it.
Come back, you sucker.
Bottle of water.
Right.
Breakfast. I eat breakfast every morning. I eat it at that stupid pay by the pound place down in the Peachtree Center in the food court because it's hard to mess up breakfast, right? Like eggs, a little bit of sausage, right? Like every morning I can get all my eggs that morning. So it's pretty expensive now. That they've learned because back in the day that used to be the cheap breakfast. But they've quickly realized that we can really hike up those prices during Dragon Con. So I'm paying about $13 for breakfast. But really, when it's compared to the $30 that you can, it's a no-brainer.
And look, here's where I messed up. I know we're running out of time, but I was like, I'll get the breakfast. I got time. I'm gonna sit down. I'm gonna go. I went over like some stuff on my phone. Take my time. Enjoy my breakfast. First on the buffet was the scrambled eggs. So I got some eggs. And then after I made my plate, someone was like, oh, there's an omelet station. I was like, fuck. I committed to to the bulk scrambled eggs, and I really feel like I messed myself up. So I won't do that again. That's my takeaway. If you're coming to Dragon Con and you're having the $30 breakfast at the Hyatt, don't take the first eggs you see. Go to the omelet station.
Go to the omelet station, because then you can put whatever you want in that omelet. It's great. I had not this year, but last year. It was good. But I don't remember, because I remember I walked in there one day and I was like, I better ask first of all how much this is. Just kind of just. And I said, by the way, how much is it for breakfast? She said, about $30. I was like, see you later.
Yeah, go F yourself.
I'm going to the Peachtree Center. But anyways, Jeremy, you're number one.
I already went.
Yeah.
I think we're done, dude.
That was it.
Oh, it's me then. It's me to. All right, so my number one, I don't think I've gone yet. It's going to be food, like it always is. Because here's the thing. When I go to Dragon Con every year, whenever I go on vacation, like I typically eat pretty healthy, relatively, like normally throughout my life. I try to eat healthy. But when I go to Dragon Con, I become a glutton. It's like feasting, just eat whatever I want. So the food
is vacation. It's vacation.
So for whatever reason, this theme was wings. Like I had the most wings that I've ever had in my life. By the way, if you want really good wings, you want to go to High Velocity in the Marriott. They got great wings. It'll cost you a pretty penny, and you don't really get anything with it. You just get the wings, but very delicious. Also, Jeremy, our favorite bartender, DJ, you didn't mention him. I thought you would mention him as one of your things, but how he was putting drinks together. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say I'm never going to say one of my three favorite things was drinking, because I'm not a lush.
Why would that not be? That's definitely one of my favorite things. It's
number four. It's everyone's number four.
But so we went to a bartender who he was having fun. Like is like he was being creative with his drinks, and it was fun. It was fun because like basically, we were waiting in line for a panel, and Jeremy says, "I found a bartender. I'm just gonna hang out here." And I was like, maybe we should leave this panel and just go to this bartender that Jeremy's talking about. So we go to the bartender, and he's there, and he comes up to me and he's like, what are your favorite flavors? And I said, you know what? I like lime and I like tequila. And he's like, okay. By the way, that's the easiest possible combination that you could put. But anyways, so he put a drink together, and it was delicious, but it wasn't like he was doing stuff like where he was burning the peel of a lime first, and like he was doing like the smoky drink that he made for Jeremy was very delicious. But that was fun. So I ate a lot of wings. I ate at Aviva 3 times. No joke.
Look, that'll set you back. Let's be real. Let's be honest.
Actually, Aviva. So let me
another $315.
I don't work for Aviva. I don't get anything from Aviva. Aviva happens to be my favorite restaurant in the world. Okay. As someone who went to Georgia State for a long time, oftentimes I would go there for lunch. It is my favorite place in the world, and for many reasons. The food is fantastic, but Camille is like the epitome of what like a business owner should be. Like he gets it. So Dragon Con, he understands that Dragon Con is going to give him so much money, right? Everybody else in downtown Atlanta acts like this is a huge burden for them. He does not act like that. He embraces everything about Dragon Con. And the people who cosplay as him,
really
fantastic,
perfect. There's a group, like it's not just one person. Like there's
a group of people who cosplay as Camille, right? So, and every year I feel like he steps up the game. So like, you wait in line. By the way, his line goes by super quick. Everybody else's line feels like it takes forever. If you go to Viva by Camille, Matt, I don't know if you've ever eaten there before, have you?
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, his line goes by super quick. So if you want fast food, that's fantastic. You go there. But he's passing out cookies. He's passing out soup, which was delicious. He's passing out baklava. Like, I've had so much free food from him just waiting in line. Look, he gets it, man. So I ate there 3 times. I had different things. I think I settled on my favorite meal, which happens to be a falafel plate with salad on the side, some hummus, tabbouleh. I love tabbouleh. I will say his tabbouleh is delicious. His hummus is delicious. I feel like even like he upstepped his game. As someone who used to like eat all the time on non-Dragon Con days, I feel like Dragon Con, he stepped up his game in terms of the ingredients for during that week. So I don't know. It's just so fantastic to go and eat at Dragon Con, go to the different places. Shoes is one of our favorite places to go. Jeremy, I know you mentioned that all the time. Yeah, it was great. It was great to eat and hang out with everybody, and that's my number one. Acid, your thoughts?
My number one was the panels. I loved the panels; they were great.
That one guy that spoke and said that thing.
Yeah, you remember?
Loved.
That real famous guy that couldn't talk about that movie because of the writer's strike. You remember that guy? Yeah, I love that.
Every panel was great. The only thing I heard, Paul Bettany wasn't. I was just like, he was.
That must have been the second one. So someone did. I didn't do because he did 2 panels. That must have been the Sunday one.
That must have been it.
Someone else did it. Acid, since I don't get to talk to you, man, what's going on with Mortal Kombat? Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh, here we go. All right.
Well, today was day 1 of early access, so it actually doesn't come out for another 5 days for all the low socioeconomic peasants who can't afford it right away.
Did you play the beta or anything?
No, I didn't get into the beta. I'm not that famous yet. I'm still working on that. Hopefully in about 20 years I'll be ready to go. But
I do have a question.
Yeah.
So I was looking at buying it. What's the difference between the regular and the premium edition?
Extra skins and stuff, and you get the first combat pack is included, so you just don't have to pay for it
DLC
extra later.
People.
Yeah, you get the first season DLC included with it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, I've only played it for a couple of hours, but for what it is at the moment, the story it does not disappoint. It's like playing a movie. It is so NetherRealm does so good with their story. I don't know how they do it every time, but the story is solid. They have rebooted the entire franchise. Like it's brand new. It's very similar, and it does kind of pick up from 11 because of the whole. I don't know.
Liu Kang.
Yeah, so Raiden's still there, but Liu Kang is now the
Fire God
protector of Earthrealm. So it's. It's a really good storyline. So I haven't finished it yet, but so far so good. And the tag in, tag out characters, I'm still getting kind of used to. It's kind of weird, but I think it'll be okay. And it's very slow. Like the gameplay is a lot slower than previous Mortal Kombats. But I'm okay with that because I'm getting older, and if you slow things down, I'm okay with that. So, but. I think I've already registered for combo, or not registered, but went ahead and got my Combo Breaker Con hotel room booked for next year.
Are you competing this year?
I'll be competing this year.
Ooh.
Mortal Kombat 1, like I did a couple of years ago, and hopefully I'll get on the main stage. So
who's your main?
Nice. Baraka's my main.
Oh, wow. You're wow.
Yeah.
So you get it early, like because you're. I mean, obviously, like you like it, it's fun, but like you're into it as in you want to get good, you're going to compete, you're going to. Awesome, man. Good luck with all that. Keep us posted.
I want to get good, and I've got plenty of time to do so. I mean, I know some of these guys that go to these fighting game conventions, other than Combo Breaker, they play 4, 5, 6 different games. I don't know how they do it, and they do very well. I can't do that. I like to stick with my one
focus.
That's what I want to do. And I went 2-2 last time I did it, so
nice.
Not too bad.
Can we plug your channel?
Do what?
Can we plug your channel?
Plug it.
What is it? I'm asking you to do it. I'm asking you to do it. What's your channel?
Acid Train.
On Twitch or
Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, everything. Everything's Acid Train.
Well, very good. Excellent. So I know we've been kind of running along here. Acid, I know you have moved on from Diablo. I'm still playing Diablo with the squad.
I tried, man. I'm so
next season
disappointed.
coming up, maybe you can get back into it. I don't know.
They're going to need to do a lot. I thought Diablo 3 was bad. Nope. Diablo 4 is way worse.
Was it any worse than Halo, though? Halo was the worst, right?
Halo. Look, I spent 300 hours playing Halo with you guys. I didn't even make it that far in Diablo. Like, I beat the game, and then when Season 1 came out, they were like, oh, hey, guess what? You get to do all that stuff you just did. You get to do it all over again. I'm like, no, I'm not doing this again. I've already done it.
Yeah,
why do I want to do it again?
I can understand.
I'm finished.
All right. Well, that was our Dragon Con review. Thank you so much for the 3 people who are watching right now. And those of you who are watching at home, Tony, Matt, it was great to have you on again, like every year. Maybe next year. When I see you, you'll say hi.
Well done.
That requires me to talk to people.
That's true. But it's definitely good to have you on. Jeremy Acid, good to have you here as well. That is our show for today. Goodbye, everybody.